On today's episode, we're going to be installing our BJ's Off-Road quick disconnects for the Swaybar. These are very important to install when you get a lift kit because they allow you to disconnect the Swaybar and get more axle articulation when you're off-road, but it allows you to keep the Swaybar connected when you're on the road, which makes for less body roll and keeps you safer. And a lot of people ask what a Swaybar quick disconnect is. So from the factory, you have end links like this, and they basically connect your Swaybar from underneath the frame down to the leaf spring perch plates. And you can see they have bushings on either end, and these are solid. So this keeps your vehicle from having excess body roll when you're on the road. But when you're off-road, they can limit your axle travel. So what we have are the Swaybar quick disconnects as a solution. And as you can see, these have little cotter pins. You simply pull that off, pull out the pin, and then it drops out. This piece stays connected to the Swaybar, and at the other end it'll stay connected to the leaf spring perch plate. And then this middle piece, after we take off the second one, this piece comes out and you put it inside your glove box, and that'll allow you about 6 or 7 inches more travel on your axle when you're off-road. So let's go ahead and get started on the install. And so we're going to go ahead and remove the upper bolt. This one is a 3/4 on the end link bolt and nut. And we already broke ours loose just to make things a little bit easier for the video. Make sure to save the nut and the washer. And then we'll take off the bottom, which is an 11/16. All right, on the bottom one, we should be able to just pry that out. I use a pickle fork, and a lot of times that just makes it come off a little bit easier. And the top can be very stubborn depending on if your bolt has frozen inside of the bushings. Now, sometimes you will have to beat the hell out of these things to get them to break loose. Not always, but just sometimes. And now that we got that guy loose, we'll take that nut the rest of the way off. And let's get him out of there. Now, once you have the factory end link removed, you will be taking the end link bolt, and you will need to install it on your Swaybar quick disconnect. There's going to be one bolt on each side that gets pre-installed, and you may have to use a hammer to gently persuade it through the bushing, depending on how tight it is. You also may want to put some grease on here for the polyurethane bushing so that it keeps it from squeaking. And what I usually do is just set it over the old one, use a hammer, and just ever so gently tap it into place. Sometimes you may have to do it a little bit more than ever so gently. And you want to make sure that it's just fully seated against the bushing. And then you can go ahead and reinstall it. When reinstalling the Swaybar quick disconnect, sometimes you'll get lucky and everything will go on just right. Other times it's going to fight you a bit. So the upper bolt goes through the Swaybar, and the bottom one goes down here onto the spring plate. Now, one of the problems that you'll sometimes find is this bushing is going to be really tight on that stud coming out. So what you can do is you can separate everything and try and wiggle it on. You can also, if we take it off, come down here, get more leverage. Then once you get it on, you can disconnect this, pivot it up, and then reinstall the disconnect. Now on ours, we may not get so lucky. Yeah, it doesn't want to go on. So what you can do is take a large C-clamp and a 1 1/8 inch socket. Put that over. Let's see if I can better. So this guy will go in here. Then you will put the clamp over it. This guy back on here. I want to go ahead and rotate him back around. Okay, we'll go ahead and get this guy loosely bolted up, and we'll get it connected to the lower portion. And then once we have everything in place, and we'll go ahead and go through and tighten it back to factory torque specs. There we go. Push that all the way up on both sides. Get it lined up here. Make sure the other side is lined up, and then all you do is you just pull down on the sway bar a little bit. And then these guys will line right up. Now we can reinsert the cotter pins. And this is all there is to it. So you just slide this little locking tab around the back, and now those are installed. And so we'll just go ahead and tighten up this and tighten up this, and then we'll be done. If you have any questions, make sure to put them in the comment section below. Please be sure to like and subscribe. And you can find these parts at BJ's Off-Road Full-Size Jeep Parts. Thanks for watching.